So it has officially been 1 year since my video talking about, the final Straw Hat, the next Straw Hat video. And like I was saying, that's the whole point of this series. It's been 1 year, we're updating our thoughts. And, maybe this might be the last time I'm doing a video like this. But this is not actually going to be one video because I said there's, different parts I want to talk about. And this is the second installment in, the 3-part series. So last time we talked about, these rules that people are making for who's allowed to become a Straw Hat and who's not allowed. And, are some of them valid? Where do some of them come from? And, just debunking a lot of that. So today we're going to talk about the negatives, right? Because it's very easy to talk about the positives, and a lot of characters have many positives. And if we just talk about positives, then everyone has positives, right? But let's focus today on the negatives of, a lot of these candidates being Straw Hats, right? And of course, we're coming off the back of last video where we said, okay, some of these rules that people are making, they don't apply. So in this video, we're gonna keep that in mind, right? We're not gonna use those arguments that we just debunked to say this person can't become because of that debunked argument. Okay, so that being said, let's actually get into it. And I'd like each of you guys to just think about this, about your favorite Straw Hat candidate, like the negatives of them becoming a Straw Hat, right? What's stopping them? The negative parts that are stopping them from becoming a Straw Hat. And with that said, let's try get into it. All those good stuff, please like, subscribe if you haven't. And there's something about the YouTube algorithm, so do all those things. Thank you. Spoilers, as always, in the description below. Now, the first person I want to talk about is Smoker. I'll be trying to go through them in some kind of order of which they appeared, but anyway, the first person is Smoker. And I think for me, the whole point with Smoker is that he's probably not going to join in the end because, yeah, he's his own person that is trying to do good. Yes, he has seen the line between pirates and, the Navy is not as clear cut as it was, and that pirates are not necessarily evil just because they're pirates. Yes, he's had this growth, but I don't think that growth is leading him to becoming a pirate himself. I think he would definitely end up helping Luffy in one way or another, but not as a pirate. I think he's trying to do a more of a, change the Marines once he's in a higher position kind of growth. That's what he's trying to do. Similar thing with Kobe, and Fujitora as well. And then you have the whole argument of Tashigi, because Tashigi's character is it's linked. And no matter what you argue, Tashigi, her story without Smoker needs to go somewhere. It can't just be, okay, now Tashigi's a Marine on her own, right? It needs to go somewhere, and it can't just be some, flippant reason. So that is my issues with Smoker. Moving on, we have Vivi. And as the same reason that we still have why Vivi didn't join in the first place is her duty to the Alabaster Kingdom and everything that entails, because she can't just leave, especially because her country needs her. We don't know what happened at the Reverie, but her country may continue to need her now more than ever before. So Vivi, once again, for the same reason that Oda made her not join, that still stands. Then we get to Bonclair. Now, Bonclair was a favorite, especially during the Impel Down arc. But, I think right now, as good as he is an addition, because all the crewmates loved him, Luffy loved him, especially their journey in Impel Down together in, I think, level 5 was it, where it's snowing and everything. That, that journey for them together was really... It was really heartwarming, especially when he stayed behind. You could shed a tear at that moment when you find out that he stayed behind to let them pass through the gates of justice. But at this point, he feels very removed from the story, and we probably have to have something to bring him back. Which actually makes me think of a video, guys. I might just do this about another prison break from Impel Down, because we've got Bonclair, we've got Doflamingo, characters people would like to see. Maybe we can get someone else, I don't know, but we could think about a video like that actually. But yeah, Bonclair, he's very removed from the story at this point, and there's nothing really leading him to Luffy. So unless he breaks out, which is a potential video, there's he's gone from the story. Then we get to Caribou, and Caribou, okay, so this one's just for jokes, but obvious reasons with Caribou is that, I feel like Luffy doesn't even care about his existence, right? Luffy is not angry with him. He's never really shown to really care about Caribou. I think when he was trying to kidnap Shirahoshi, like, oh, there's a monster here. And then he just beat Caribou up because you're trying to, kidnap Shirahoshi, but he wasn't angry at Caribou at all. So yeah, and then also Caribou was also trying to impress somebody, right? Because when he heard about Shirahoshi being a weapon, he's like, oh, he would be very interested in this. So Caribou's out to impress somebody else. Anyway, I don't know why I took that so seriously, but let's move on. Then there's Momonosuke, and there's just the very basic Momonosuke needs to become the Shogun. Right? That is what everyone has been saying. That's what's being, stressed so much, that he's the future of Wano. And that's, probably where he may go in the end, right? That he's Oden's son. He's going to do what Oden couldn't manage to do, become the Shogun and, help Wano from within Wano. Right? And then you've also got the whole aspect of what does he offer to the crew and to Luffy in specific, right? Because we've seen Luffy talk about, his crew, and maybe this is a problem with Apprentice Pirates, but his crew does stuff that he can't. He's like, I think he was making this argument at one point in the series, he's like, I can't cook, I don't know how to use a sword, I don't know how to navigate, and for Usopp, he's like, I don't even know how to lie, right? But how does Momonosuke fit into that? What can Momonosuke do? Is Luffy going to be like, I can't turn into a dragon? Or something like that? I don't know. Like, that's just something else I thought about on the side. Anyway, the main point with that is that he, doing what Oden couldn't, becoming the Shogun of Wano, restoring the Kozuki clan's name in Wano and all that. Then we get to Law. And for Law, it's that he's his own captain, right? We've seen that he can be friends with the Straw Hats. He's there ordering food. He's there, being happy with robots, ninjas, all that kind of stuff. He's assimilated himself, but as a friend, right? He's repeatedly said that, look, I'm not your subordinate. You can't order me around. Like, I have my own. He has his own agency. He does his own stuff. And so Law, at the end of the day, he's his own character. And as much as he is fine being friends with the Straw Hats, he does not want to be a subordinate of Luffy, right? And that's a very big thing. So yeah, for Law, I think he probably may just continue in the story to be relevant and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think that, based on this argument, he probably won't join the Straw Hats. Get to Carrot next, and with Carrot, at this point, she feels like she's just not relevant anymore, right? Because she got lots of shine, got lots of, character development in Whole Cake Island, but since we came to Wano, it's like the story focus has just shifted from her. Even this thing that she's got with Pedro and Perospero, it feels misdirected, and it feels like she's on the wrong side of the pirate life kind of thing, right? Because of this whole kind of trying to act for revenge of someone who died. You don't see Luffy saying, okay, I'm gonna beat Akainu because he punched a hole through Ace. You never see Luffy even thinking about that when it comes to the Navy, right? He still just thinks, the Navy, gotta run away from those guys. Like, he never really has those thoughts, even when it comes to Blackbeard. Yes, he's angry at Blackbeard, but he doesn't think, Blackbeard didn't catch Ace, damn it. Right? So that's not what Luffy is like, right? Luffy, he doesn't have that kind of mindset, and I feel like, of course Carrot could grow, but because that's her main focus right now, it just feels like she's not really being built up to become a pirate. Also, just generally, story focus has been taken off her. Now, I'm not going to say that all the Straw Hats have, incredible story focus, but it's like when a Straw Hat is on the screen, it feels very different to when we're seeing Carrot on the screen, right? We're not getting that same kind of energy from them. So, yeah, in the end, Carrot, it just doesn't, Oda could turn it around, but at this point, it doesn't seem like it. Then we have Tama, and Tama. So many people want Tama to join. At first I didn't understand this, but I mean, the same points that for the same reasons that I thought back then, is that I don't think she's ready. Even Ace was like, when you become an older bewitching Konoichi, right? That's when I'll take you. And for me, that's like, yeah, he doesn't think she's ready. He's not willing to take her on, kind of thing. And for the most part, as much as Tama is a very relevant character in Wano, she kind of feels like one of those kids who are relevant in the arc and then not relevant after, right? We've had several of these kids throughout One Piece. In Skypiea, we had Asia, I'm not really sure her name, but we had her. In Shelton, we had the little girl who gave Zoro rice balls. In Water 7, we had Chimney and Gonbe. Like, we've had these little kids who are very relevant in the arc, but then, like the rest of them, Tama doesn't seem to have any future after this arc. Apart from saying she should join the Straw Hats, she has no relevance. We don't know about any dreams of hers, anything that would lead her outside of Wano besides that one moment where she wanted to go with Ace, right? And that's because she liked Ace. She wanted to go with him, not really because she had some dream outside of Wano. So that is Tama's issue, is that we haven't gotten anything that leads her outside of Wano apart from her wanting to go with Ace and then Ace being Luffy's brother. That's all that there is. And then finally, I think last but not least, we get to a lot of people's favorite at this point, and that is Yamato, Kaido's child person. And with Yamato, I feel like Luffy doesn't particularly like Yamato. Like, now you could argue otherwise, but I think that there's a very clear line that's drawn when Luffy actually likes someone, right? Because compare Luffy and Bonclair, compare Luffy and Vivi to Luffy and Yamato. Yes, Yamato is new, and people talk about potential, but I don't want to hear about potential. Potential is not an argument to join. We're talking about what's there right now, right? And right now, Luffy doesn't particularly like. Luffy likes and trusts Yamato as much as he likes and trusts anyone who he's, with in an arc. Like the way he trusted and liked the people from the Colosseum in Dressrosa. He was with them in this whole journey. He didn't really care about them. He wasn't going to invite them to join his crew, right? And that's where Yamato is right now. She's in kind of Grand Fleet territory, kind of like prisoners from Impel Down. Luffy didn't care about them, but they were helping his escape, so he's just like, yeah, let them do what they want to do, right? So there's no real connection between Luffy and Yamato. And then there's the whole point of Yamato's parallels with Oden, because Oden, Yamato, Kaido, Momonosuke, you can either any way you look at them, there's always parallels between all of them. Kaido and Momonosuke, Momonosuke and Oden, Oden and Yamato, Yamato and Kaido, Yamato and Momo, Kaido and Oden, like any way you can find parallels, right? And that's, for me, that's kind of my thoughts in this arc, is that Yamato is replacing not only... Momonosuke was supposed to replace Oden in this fight, being older, being more trained, but because he went to the future, he's still young. So we have Yamato, who's exactly the same age, kind of replacing Momo, who's supposed to replace Oden, right? And if Yamato is kind of replacing Oden, people say, okay, Yamato is going to replace Oden and that he'll go out to sea. And then the same people say Momo will replace Oden and that he'll stay behind. But you could have it, in that Yamato replaces Oden, that Yamato stays behind, right? Because the story would start the same for both Yamato and Oden, that they wanted to go out to sea, but in the end Yamato would do what Oden couldn't and stay behind and protect Wano. Because after this, really, we may have some deaths between the scabbards, maybe none of them will die, but we probably will have some deaths. And then you have a very weak Wano, even if it's under Luffy, even if it's very weak, right? So you probably potentially need Yamato to stay back and be the protector of Wano, and she'll fulfill that role like Ryuma did in deterring the world government all those years, 400 years ago, I think. The same thing that Oden did in showing that there's strong people there, and now Yamato will fill the same role as someone who lives in Wano, and also with the lineage to Kaido. So there is all that Yamato can fulfill by staying in Wano. And it gets even deeper, because if some scabbards do survive, then Yamato would kind of be, as far as fighting, Yamato would be the leader of them, which is directly taking Oden's role, right? So the parallels go even deeper there. So there is potential for Yamato's character to grow and, end up in an interesting way without Yamato actually joining. So because of these reasons, and because Yamato doesn't really have anything right now, like nothing, except for potentially, it's possible Yamato just won't become. But let me know what you guys think, right? Let me know other arguments which you guys think are really valid, other stuff. Especially do this first for your favorite character joining, and then do it for other characters as well. Of course, there's going to be one person who's going to use the same invalid arguments that we talked about before, but yeah, for the rest of you guys who can actually think beyond that, please let me know your other thoughts, other negatives. In the next video, we'll talk about the positives briefly, and then my top picks, so we'll rank them I don't know. We will decide. And, we'll probably end up doing a tier list in the end instead of just having one pick. We'll talk about them and then do a tier list as well. And that's probably how we'll end up doing the next video. But until then, guys, please, as always, like this video if you like the video, subscribe for more content. If you know someone who needs to hear the truth about the negatives of their favorite joining, share this video with them. If you have time, watch one of my other videos. And if not, thank you for watching this video. And guys, this is King KZ. I'll see you in the next one.